Some say the scariest stories are hidden in books. The ones that haunt me were typed at 2 a.m. on anonymous forums. No usernames, no faces, just pure, unfiltered terror. Welcome to Lermo Stories channel. Tonight, you won't sleep. I never meant to come to Ravenswood. A small, forgotten town tucked away in the folds of the Appalachian foothills. The kind of place where the roads twist like old scars, and the fog hangs thick enough to swallow sound. I was chasing a story, but not the usual kind, the kind that seeps under your skin. My name's Carter Hayes. I'm a journalist who's seen enough disappearances to know when one smells off. Ravenswood's missing were different. Families vanishing without a trace. No signs of struggle, no evidence left behind. The police called it unexplained. The locals whispered about something darker. The first time I arrived, the streets were empty, save for the shadows of twisted trees lining cracked sidewalks. The hospital, an ancient Gothic structure, loomed at the edge of town like a dormant beast. Its windows stared down like empty eye sockets. The air smelled like damp earth and rusted metal. I checked into the only motel, the Hollow, run by a woman named Martha. She was in her late 60s, with a tired smile and eyes that darted like she was hiding secrets. "Most folks don't come here unless they got no other choice," she said as she handed me the rusty key. "You looking for someone, Mr. Hayes?" I nodded. "A few people, actually. Missing, all around here. I'm trying to figure out why." She hesitated. "You'll find more questions than answers. Watch your back. Ravenswood doesn't take kindly to strangers poking around." The next day, I started at the hospital. Officially, it was closed after a fire years ago, but locals claimed strange lights flickered behind the boarded windows at night, and that screams sometimes pierced the fog. I found the main entrance barricaded with rusted metal sheets, but a side door was cracked open, just enough to slip inside. Inside, the air was stale, thick with dust and the scent of decay. The floors creaked underfoot, echoing down endless, empty corridors. The walls were scrawled with faded messages, some desperate, some ominous. They come at night. Leave before it's too late. I moved deeper, flashlight cutting through the darkness. Then I heard it. Faint footsteps behind me. I spun around, but no one was there. Only the endless silence pressing in. That's when I found it. A small room with a single rusted gurney and a notebook lying on the floor. I picked it up. The pages were filled with a frantic scrawl. Entries from a nurse named Evelyn. She wrote about strange patients, people arriving with no names, eyes glazed, murmuring in unknown tongues. She spoke of a cult, the Children of the Mist, who believed the fog was a veil between worlds, and that people were being taken. Not just missing, but dragged into something beyond this reality. The last entry stopped mid-sentence. Terrified. Tonight, they came for me. I can hear their whispers behind the walls. If anyone finds this, please.
The lights flickered, plunging me into darkness. My heart pounded. I wasn't alone. The darkness clung to me like a second skin as I fumbled for my flashlight. The beam flickered back on, slicing through the oppressive black. But I could swear the shadows were moving on their own, stretching, twisting, like living things. I tucked the nurse's notebook into my jacket and crept toward the exit. Each step slow, careful, as if the floor itself might betray me. Outside, the fog had thickened, wrapping the hospital in a suffocating shroud. The town was no better. Empty streets swallowed by mist, street lamps casting weak halos that barely pushed back the gray. I wandered toward the diner where the locals supposedly gathered, hoping for answers. Instead, I found silence. Chairs overturned, plates shattered, and a single radio playing a crackling, static-laced broadcast, repeating the same chilling message.
"Do not trust the fog. It remembers."
A sudden chill made my skin crawl. I ducked into a narrow alley, trying to steady my breath. Then I saw them. Figures emerging from the haze, slow, deliberate, moving as if in a trance. Their faces were blank, eyes glassy and unseeing. They whispered in low, hissing voices, their words slipping just beyond comprehension.
Join us. Join us beneath the mist.
I backed away, heart slamming against my ribs. Then a voice broke through the whispers. A young woman's voice, terrified and urgent.
Help me, please!
I turned toward the sound and spotted her near the edge of the alley, drenched and shaking, her clothes torn.
I don't belong here.
She gasped, clutching a worn pendant.
They took my brother, the children. The fog, it's alive.
Before I could ask more, the fog shifted and the figures closed in. Their mouths opened in silent screams, but no sound came out. I grabbed her arm. We need to get out of here. She nodded, eyes wide, but then the mist thickened faster, swallowing the street, the buildings, until the world was nothing but cold, wet silence.
I don't know how long we stumbled through that choking fog. Time lost meaning. Every direction looked the same, endless gray swallowing us whole. The woman clung to me, trembling, whispering fragments of her story. Her name was Mara. She said the Children of the Mist were a cult bound to the hospital, worshipping the fog as a living entity, a gatekeeper to something ancient and hungry. They took people to sacrifice, to feed the mist's hunger. I escaped, she said, voice cracking. But my brother... They took him deeper inside. We reached the hospital's back entrance. The door creaked open with a groan that sounded almost alive. Inside, the air was thicker, colder. The walls pulsed faintly, like the building itself was breathing. I heard chanting, low and rhythmic. We followed it down a spiraling staircase to the basement. The walls were covered with strange symbols scratched into the stone, glowing faintly in the dark. In the center of the chamber was a pit, a black maw that seemed to suck in the light. Around it, hooded figures swayed, their voices rising in a hypnotic drone. Mara grabbed my hand, eyes wide with terror. We have to leave, now! But the fog seeped in through cracks, creeping over the floor like living smoke. The chanting grew louder, surrounding us, pulling at our minds. I felt my thoughts twist, reality bending. And then I saw him, her brother, standing at the edge of the pit, eyes empty, lips moving silently. Come, he whispered, join us beneath the mist. I tried to pull Mara back, but the fog wrapped around my legs, dragging me toward the pit. Just before I fell in, everything snapped back. The chanting stopped, the fog vanished. I woke up alone, outside the hospital, the dawn breaking over Ravenswood. No Mara, no brother, no cult. Just the notebook in my hand, its last page smeared with something dark. And the faintest whisper on the wind. Fading. Ominous. We remember.
They told me Ridge Hall was just temporary housing, an old dorm building they were reopening because the campus ran out of space. Sounded simple. I didn't expect this. The place looks like it hasn't been touched in years. Faded bricks, cracked windows, the front door hanging off the frame. The hallway lights buzz, and half the outlets don't work. There's mold in the corners. It's just me and two other students, Devin and Mateo. Devin's loud, always vaping. Mateo doesn't talk, ever. They're both on the second floor. I picked a room on the third for some quiet. Big mistake. The first night, I heard whispering. Not voices outside, not even through the walls. It was above me, inside the ceiling. Soft, rhythmic, like someone repeating a name just out of hearing range. I told myself it was old pipes, just settling. But then I checked. The floor was cold, silent. I stood in the hallway, holding my breath. Something felt close, like it was just out of sight. Devin looked messed up the next morning. Said he didn't sleep. Claimed someone was pacing outside his door for hours, slow, dragging steps. He opened the door once. Nothing. But the sound kept going, right past him, down the hall. Mateo didn't say a word, just kept staring at the table. I tried to record the whispers. At 3:10 a.m., something came through. Barely a whisper. I had to boost the audio to hear it. It said, "He's listening." Then Mateo disappeared. No warning, no note. His door was locked from the inside. We had to shoulder it open. Everything was still there. His bag, phone, laptop, even his keys. But the bed was cold. We called housing. They brushed it off. Probably went home, they said. Right. Without his wallet? The next night, I woke up and found scratches on my door. 5 long gouges, right next to the lock. I always close my door. Always lock it. These weren't there before. Devin saw them. He didn't say a thing, just left. Took his stuff, got in his car, and drove off. Now it's just me, and whatever's whispering through the vents. Last night, it said something new. You shouldn't have come back.
Something's crawling in the ceiling. Not mice, not pipes. It's heavier than that. Slow, deliberate. It follows me, moves when I move, stops when I stop. Last night, I stood in place for almost 10 minutes, holding my breath. Then, 3 soft taps right above me. And a whisper. Come down. The basement door used to be locked. Big, rusted chain, old do not enter sign. Now, it's wide open. I went down a few steps, flashlight in hand. The air changed, thick, wet, the smell of earth and iron. There were sounds, not voices, more like breathing, like the building was alive. Further down, I saw a corridor lined with broken furniture, everything soaked in black water. At the end of the hall, a metal door, scratched, dented from the inside. As I stepped closer, a voice came through the crack. Not loud, not angry, just calm. He left it open once. Just once. I ran. Didn't stop until I was back in my room. But something followed. I don't know how I know. I just do. The days don't feel real anymore. My phone says it's afternoon, but outside, total blackness. No sun, no light, just static in the sky. I tried to walk to the campus offices, followed the sidewalk like always. But I kept ending up back here. Same hedge, same mailbox, Ridge Hall, every time. Like the world is folding in. I found a notebook today, in the empty room next to mine, tucked behind the radiator. Most pages are destroyed by water, but a few survived. One says, "It won't let me sleep. I dream in its body now." Another page just repeats a line over and over. "Don't listen through the wall." That night I tested it. Laid in bed, ear to the wall. Nothing at first, just a faint humming. Then, a breath, right behind the plaster. "You hear me now." I tried to block the vents, stuffed them with shirts, towels, tape. Didn't matter. The sound changed locations. Now it whispers from the floorboards, from under my bed, from inside my pillow. And every time I close my eyes, I see someone standing in the stairwell, still, motionless. He looks like Mateo, but taller. Wrong.
I stopped speaking 3 days ago. It's not like I chose to. The words just won't come. When I try to talk, it's like something presses against my throat from the inside. No sound, only pressure. But I still hear it. It talks to me now. Not through vents, not through walls, from inside my head. Clear, constant, calm. You were empty, so we came in. I look in the mirror and the reflection lags. Just by half a second, like it's learning how to be me. Last night it smiled on its own. I didn't. I dreamed of the building as it used to be. Clean floors, music playing, sunlight through the windows, students laughing, then a noise from the basement. Low, like a broken cello. Everyone stopped, turned their heads, not toward the sound, but away from it, like they were being pulled from behind. They started walking, slowly, one by one, down the stairs, into the dark. No fear, no resistance, just obedience. There's no hallway anymore. I opened my door, and there was nothing, just a brick wall. No way out, no sound outside. Even the wind is gone. The lights in my room are always on now, even unplugged, even smashed. Last night, they flickered once, just once, and something stepped through the wall. Not fast,
not aggressive, just present. It looked like me, but older, or hungrier, or maybe more complete. It didn't speak. It didn't have to. Now the notebook is writing itself. New pages appear. My name, repeated dozens of times, then scratched out, replaced with something that isn't language. Symbols, twisting, impossible shapes that move when I look away. I think they're instructions, or maybe a blueprint, for who I'm becoming. Something is behind my eyes, watching you read this, breathing with you, listening. I'm not sure this is a warning. I think it's just a door. And now it's your turn to hear the whisper. You shouldn't have come back.
I thought I knew those woods. I'd hiked there a dozen times before. Same trails, same bends, same old trees stretching out like silent sentinels. But tonight, something was off. The rain started just after sunset. It wasn't the gentle kind that soaks you slowly. No, it came crashing down, hard and cold, turning the forest floor into a slippery mess. I had my jacket, but it wasn't enough. My boots slipped twice before I realized I was losing my footing. I'd planned to be back at my car before dark, but the storm came faster than I expected, and the trails, they disappeared beneath the mud. Every direction looked the same. Thick trunks, tangled roots, and shadows that felt alive. Then I heard it. Not thunder, but footsteps. Slow, steady, crunching leaves just behind me. I stopped, held my breath. "Hello?" I called out, voice barely above a whisper. Silence. I turned. Nothing but wet trees and dark shapes. I started walking faster, my heart pounding so loud I was sure anyone nearby could hear. The footsteps followed, matching my pace, never faltering. I risked a glance over my shoulder. A man, tall, thin, his face hidden beneath a hood, soaked through with rain. I couldn't see his eyes, but I felt his gaze burning into me. I told myself it was just another hiker caught in the storm. Maybe he was lost too, but something about the way he moved, slow, deliberate, like he knew exactly where I was, set off every alarm inside me. I tried to call out again, louder this time. "Hey, do you need help?" He didn't answer, just kept following, never speeding up, never stopping. Panic hit me. I veered off the trail, crashing through underbrush, hoping to lose him. The rain turned my vision blurry. Branches scratched my face, and cold seeped into my bones. The footsteps quickened. I could hear breathing now. Not mine, his. I stumbled into a clearing, gasping for breath, soaked and trembling. The rain thundered around me, but he was close. Too close. "Stop," I whispered, voice cracking. A shadow detached itself from the trees. "You shouldn't be here," he said, low and rough. I shook my head, backing away. "Please, just leave me alone." He stepped forward, and for the first time, I saw his eyes. Cold, unblinking, empty like dark pits. I turned and ran, the storm swallowing my screams.
The ranger pulled me to my feet, wrapping his jacket around me. His flashlight scanned the woods, but there was no sign of anyone else. "Who was following you?" he asked, voice low but steady. I shook my head, unable to answer. The fear still clung to me like the cold rain. We walked back toward the trailhead, the storm easing. The forest suddenly quiet, as if it had swallowed its own breath. As we reached the edge of the trees, I glanced back once more. Nothing. Just endless trunks fading into darkness. The ranger told me the forest was old, full of lost hikers and stories people never believed. He said sometimes, when the storm hits, something comes out. Something that watches from the shadows. I asked him if he'd seen the man. He shook his head. Sometimes, you just don't want to find out. I never went back. But at night, when the wind howls and rain beats the windows, I still hear footsteps. Slow, steady, just beyond the door, and I know he's still out there.
I ran blind, branches whipping my face, roots trying to trip me, my lungs burned, and the rain stung my eyes, but I didn't stop. Behind me, his footsteps crashed through the undergrowth, relentless. I didn't know where I was going anymore. The forest had turned into a maze, each tree like a wall blocking me in. My phone was dead, no signal, no light. Then I heard it again, closer this time, his voice barely audible over the storm. "You can't run forever." I froze. Panic surged through me, but I couldn't turn around. Not yet. I scanned the darkness. There, a narrow path sloping down toward a creek. I had no choice. I slipped and slid down, nearly falling into the cold water. I scrambled across wet rocks, heart hammering as the creek's roar masked the footsteps behind me for a moment. But then a hand grabbed my jacket. I yelped and twisted free, sprinting uphill on the other side, soaked and shaking. The man's breathing was ragged now, mixed with frustration or maybe amusement. It echoed around me. I ducked behind a fallen tree, pressed my back to the rough bark, and tried to calm my shaking hands. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I fumbled it out. A message from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have come here." I swallowed hard. A light flickered ahead, dim, like a flashlight beam cutting through the rain. I didn't think. I ran toward it. "Help!" I shouted, voice raw. A figure stepped into view, a ranger, soaked but real. "Are you okay? You're lucky I'm out here." I collapsed, tears mixing with rain. Behind me, the footsteps stopped. No more breathing, no more voice. The forest was quiet again.
I woke nights at an old mall outside the city. It's mostly dead after 10 p.m. Stores shuttered, halls silent, just me and the buzz of fluorescent lights. The silence used to calm me. Then I started hearing footsteps that weren't mine, always behind me, always stopping when I stopped. At first, I thought I imagined it. Old pipes, my echo, whatever. Then one night, I walked past the dark Sears wing, completely shut for years, and heard breathing. Close. Wet. I spun around with my flashlight. Empty hallway. But something ducked behind a corner. I heard it. I heard it move. Since then, every shift has gotten worse. Chairs drag slightly when I'm not looking. Bathroom doors slowly swing open. Once, I passed a mirror, and someone was behind me. But when I turned, there was no one. Last night, a dead camera came to life. Just static at first. Then, a shape. Far down the corridor. Not walking, not moving, just watching. I stared. It raised its hand, slowly, like it knew I was watching back. Then the feed cut out. It hasn't come back on. But tonight, I swear I saw something in the reflection of the office window, standing behind me, breathing. I didn't move. Couldn't. The reflection was wrong. Off. The shoulders too narrow, the head too low, like it didn't understand how to stand human. I turned around fast. Nothing there. Empty office, door still locked, but the window still showed the shape. Only in the glass. I covered it with cardboard and sat in the corner with the lights on full. I didn't blink for an hour. I kept thinking about the camera. Camera 06, dead for months. Why would it turn on now? And what the hell was that thing waving at me? The next night, I did my rounds early. Skipped the Sears wing, stayed in the main hall, with a light still feels normal. But even there, something was wrong. The ceiling speakers, the ones that haven't worked in years, started playing soft music, distorted, too slow, like a warped lullaby. Then it stopped, and I heard someone whisper my name. Not a shout, not a voice through the intercom, a whisper right beside my ear. I ran back to the office and slammed the door shut. The monitors were all static, except one, Camo 6 again, now closer. The figure was standing just a few feet from the lens. No face, just skin, stretched too tight. Its hand rose slowly, not waving this time, pointing right at the camera, at me. Then, the feed went black. I turned off all the monitors, but the static didn't stop. It started coming from inside the office, from the walls, like something breathing through the circuits. I didn't finish the shift. I sat in my car until sunrise. And even then, I could still hear the music playing softly from somewhere inside the mall.
I haven't quit yet.
I don't know why. Maybe part of me wants to prove it's not real, but it is. Last night, I got brave. Stupid, maybe. I went back to the Sears wing, 2:30 a.m., same time, same hallway. It was colder than usual, the kind of cold that crawls under your skin. As I walked, every light behind me flickered out, one by one, click, 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 until it was just me and the dark. Then I heard it again, the breathing. But not behind me this time, in front. I raised my flashlight. There was something standing halfway down the hall, but it wasn't still anymore. It was walking toward me, slow, unsteady, like it was learning how. My legs wouldn't move, my flashlight dimmed. Its arms dragged slightly along the tile, its head tilted to the side, like it was trying to listen to me breathe. I ran, didn't look back, didn't stop. I locked myself in the office, shoved the filing cabinet against the door, and just listened. I thought it was over, but then the static started again. Not from the monitors, from the intercom. I haven't heard that thing in years, and through it came one sound, my own voice, not recorded, speaking live. I was saying, "He's in the office now," and then, "Don't let him leave." I'm writing this during my last shift. It's 3:12 a.m. I haven't left the office in hours. But something's moving outside the door, dragging something heavy. I can hear it breathing. Sometimes it knocks, sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it laughs. If you're reading this, I posted it to X because I don't know where else to send it. Westbrook Plaza, night shift security. It's real. And I think tonight, it's coming in.
Some threads vanish without a trace. Some accounts were never real to begin with. And some stories, they don't end when you stop reading. They follow you into the quiet, into the dark. What you heard tonight? Maybe it was just text on a screen. Or maybe it was something else trying to be remembered. This was Lermo Stories. If your mind's still yours, like the video. And if you want more truths you were never meant to hear, subscribe. We'll be back, whether you're ready or not.